the flag. We ain't never gonna lag. No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time. Generation fighters, take the stand. From shore to shore, we reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore, we make our stand.
All right, everybody. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties again. If you don't like my voice, just hit the like button there on Rumble, okay? Because I'm seem to having quality sound issues here. It happened to me on a radio show last night. Pete's mic was working, but mine's not. But welcome back to Jersey Shore. That's SURE because we are always sure. I'm here with my two guests here, Peter Sykes and Jack Brangan, also candidates for Assembly in LD6, Camden County. Two good guys running this race. They're trying to change LD6, change Camden County, and then from there change the state. So that's what we're looking to do. Before I go into my monologue, I have some saddening breaking news that I caught on the way over here. I saw a clip from Stephen Miller talking to the press. It was about talking about immigration again, and he basically told the press. He said he doesn't want to hear anything from the press, from the Democratic press, from the Democratic Party themselves about their morals or anything like that, because they just found a 14-year-old girl who was trafficked, was stolen from her family in Mexico by the cartels, trafficked across our border, unvetted, and was given to a sponsor, a 26-year-old male who claimed to be her brother, who happened to be an illegal alien as well. This is all in taxpayer dollars, too, so he's getting paid to sponsor this girl who's not even her brother, and he's illegal himself. That's how much vetting they did. That's how close they paid attention to the hundreds of thousands of children that came across this border. And surprisingly, but sadly, the young girl in his custody, his sponsorship, was raped and abused and impregnated. And when this was all found out, the Biden administration didn't even take the case and bring it to trial. They let it go. So it's evil on top of evil on top of evil. And this is breaking news that I heard coming over here. We'll talk more about it on Monday's episode once I get more information. But that's why this whole thing with Ortega Garcia and everything else is just complete BS. So, so anyway, as I said, welcome back to Jersey Shore on the America's Pulse Network. We are coming to you live here from First Amendment Live Studios. I introduce my guest. So I just want to go into my opening monologue. First thing I want to start with is, well, happy Easter to everyone out there, and I hope everyone enjoyed their Passover. I believe that ended today as well. But it looks like that it seems like Jill Biden is in the Easter spirit because she rolled out Joe Biden for his first speech that he's had since he left the office. So it kind of renewed my faith a little bit, because if she can roll out and resurrect a dead president, then surely Jesus Christ can do it. So I got a new renewal of faith right there. So, and of course he came out and gave an incoherent speech. It was racist. It was dividing. It was lies again, and he got paid for it, a lot of money. So I guess the Ukraine money from Hunter Biden is drying up. So they got to try to find money somewhere. So, but let's get real. President Donald Trump came back swinging in 2025, and within months, he's already done more for this country in 90 days, roughly, than Joe Biden has done in 4 years. So it's no longer a campaign slogan for him. It's an action. It's already producing results. Now, under Joe Biden, our border was just open. It was non-existent. Between 2021 and 2024, we had 10.8 million border crossings. Now, 8.72 million were just at our southern border, but that also includes about 3 million gotaways that we don't know about. Legal immigrants who entered and disappeared right into our communities. that no one knows where they're at. So that's another thing that the Trump administration has to clean up. So now compare that to Trump 2025. In just the first 2 weeks of Trump's return, he deported 5,700 illegal aliens, criminal aliens, illegal criminal aliens. They were already criminals crossing our border. We're talking about dangerous criminals, assault, rape, so be it, kidnapping, all that. And they plan on 150,000 by the end of the year. We wish we could do more. Biden let in millions per year, but it's now we got to go find them and get rid of them. So, but in March of 2025, migrant encounters dropped just to 7,200 from 189,000 in March when Biden was office. That's staggering. Those numbers are staggering. So now we have Doge. Now Doge, what Trump is delivering all his campaign promises, he's finding out all of the government waste. Now Doge is eliminating nearly $1 billion per day in government waste. Now they're halting necessary funding, for federal hiring, unnecessary funding for federal hiring, cutting off DEI scams and stopping the Biden era slush funds going into foreign nations. The Department of Defense alone, they found $80 million of wasteful spending, so they turned it around and put it right back into our defense budget for our military and to serve our veterans. Now, while Trump is focused on Americans, Biden and his party were too busy worrying about the rest of the world and how they feel. Biden's globalist open border approach handed control of our immigration policy to NGOs, foreign governments, and cartel coyotes. Trump, he's putting military personnel at the border. He's seizing federal land. He's telling the world, you don't get to walk across our border. We're a sovereign nation now. A nation without a border is not a sovereign nation. Now we finally have a border. And then this is where it gets disgusting too. The mainstream media, ABC, MSNBC, CNN, they don't report the news, as you know. I complain about it all the time. They spew Democrat propaganda. I mean, if you look at the case of this Ortega Garcia, an illegal immigrant deemed a terrorist threat and ordered deported, the media gave that story hours of airtime, crying over his removal and questioning Trump's authority and painting Ortega Garcia as the victim. Now, where was the coverage for Laken Riley, Jocelyn Ngori, and Rachel Morin? Now, these are American women brutally murdered by illegals who crossed our wide open border under Biden. Combined with those stories, got less than 15 minutes on those news stations, combined with those stories. Talking about CNN, MSNBC, and ABC, 15 minutes total. While this guy, Ortega Garcia, is nonstop coverage. That's all they talk about is getting him back. They call him the father of the year, the Maryland's father, get him back home. No, he's an illegal gang member deemed terrorist with MS-13. So he's gone. So, and what really sickens me is you have Congressman Chris Van Hollen actually flew to El Salvador, on taxpayer dollars, number one, to go and meet with this guy. And there's pictures of him sitting at a table drinking margaritas with this illegal felon that was deported to El Salvador, his home country, by the way, where he should have been deported to. And he's going over there and trying to get it back. Now, what are his constituents doing? Is he worried about their overrun schools because of illegal immigration, their health care, that the hospitals are overrun? What's he doing for the people he's supposed to represent? What's he doing for Americans? Same thing with Senator Cory Booker. The Cory Booker, he plans to do the same thing. He's crying about it too. So Cory Booker, did he go visit Rachel Morin's family, Laken Riley's family, Jocelyn O'Gara's family when this happened? No. Didn't even make a mention of it. But no, he wants to go see Garcia over in El Salvador. So he's a New Jersey senator. And God, I hope the person that's going to run against him, and I think I know who it's going to be, puts up a good fight and gets him out. And if he wants to go to El Salvador and do a 25-hour, stand up on his pulpit and speak for 25 hours straight, go ahead and do it. Do it in El Salvador. They got nowhere to go. They're in prison. They can't run away. I mean, they can only deem it torture. So that's where we're at in today's media and the Democrat family. So it's the party. I'm sorry. They don't care about working class families. They don't care about us. They don't care about Pete. They don't care about Jack. They don't care about our kids, our grandkids. They care about what fits their narrative. They dug themselves so deep into the hole with this illegal immigration, and they have no real policies. That's why they were voted out. So they grasp onto anything they possibly can, and it's always Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. That's all it is. And I said to Pete on the radio show last night, I said, I guarantee you, and I kind of said it as a joke, but it might be true. Like CNN, MSNBC, all those news stations, they probably gathered their whole team into the office together, probably had their mail-in ballots already filled out and said, sign these. You're voting for Trump because if he doesn't get in, we're going under. We're already going under. We need something to talk about. So they needed Trump to boost their ratings, even though they barely went up at all. They're still in the toilet. Yeah. But so that's my bottom line for the day. So I guess let's take it to our first segment, which is 100 plus or minus, because we're coming up on 100 days with Trump, and we'll play some clips and we'll talk about it.
Take the stand from shore to shore. We reclaim the land, grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore, we make our stand.
All right, now welcome back to segment one. It's first 100 days plus or minus. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Trump has done. Like I said, he's done more in less than his first 100 days than Biden has done for this country in 4 years. And to unravel what Biden did is, I mean, it's a feat that's almost impossible, but he's getting it done. He's been planning this for a long time. He has great people around him. You guys agree? His cabinet that he picked?
Absolutely. And that's what I was saying, too, is I don't know if he would have been able to accomplish what he's accomplishing had he won in 2020. Had he been the president in 2020, he would have still had the same bad people, the bad actors around him, and he wouldn't be able to go in there with the A team and steamroll and get all this stuff accomplished.
Yeah, it's not just Trump. I think the whole MAGA movement since 2020 is battle tested now.
Yeah,
we're sort of hardened and through Trump, but I think MAGA is a totally different organization. It's very positive looking, very, very strong. Just one comment about this one, Garcia, is that his name?
Yeah, Ortega.
Oh, the Maryland man.
He's got like four.
Yeah, they talk about undocumented immigrants. This guy is documented better than any other immigrant that's been in this country. He's been in front of immigration judge twice. And both times, the judgment against him was that he was a proven member of MS-13. Yeah. So, but this is fully documented that these judges, both of these trials, ended with that designation. And with MS-13 being a terrorist organization, he relinquishes all rights to be in this country. And I think this is what is so pathetic about the Democratic Party, that they have latched on to, it's got to be the worst immigrant to be in here. He's the poster child for why we got to get them all out.
Yeah.
Human trafficking, MS-13. MS-13, as probably everybody's heard already, requires their members to commit a murder.
Yeah,
to get in
randomly.
And those murders can be babies. So these are animals here that have to be taken off the streets. There's no question about it.
We don't know. We definitely don't want them in our streets. Let's go ahead and put it like that. That's what happened down in El Salvador, right? He got tired of dealing with it down there, and that's it. He locked them all up. And now it's the safest place, right? Turn around, El Salvador. It was one of the dangers in the world. Now it's the safest.
Yeah, even the president said, when we played that clip before, El Salvador president, he was in the White House. They asked, are they going to bring him back to the United States? He said, why would I smuggle a terrorist back to the United States? How could I possibly do that? And then they went on, they asked him, well, will you release him from prison? He said, well, we used to be the murder capital, murder country of the world, the top murder capital. Yeah. He said, I'm not looking to go back there, so I'm not releasing the terrorists into my streets. That comes straight from the El Salvador president's mouth. So, but they keep doubling down on it. I don't get it. And what sickens me about the media, too, is when you've seen Rachel Warren's mother tell her story at the White House press conference. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
It was heartbreaking.
It really was.
It really was. And you know what? CNN didn't play it. MSNBC didn't play it. You're going to see it in the clips coming up. So let's roll S1 V1.
While we're on the subject,
and we'll check out this clip.
You're talking about Abrego Garcia. Is that the one? Yeah. is an illegal alien MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist. This comes out of the State Department and very legitimate sources. I mean, I assume I'm just giving you what they handed to me, but this was supposed to be certified stuff. In 2019, Garcia was issued a deportation order. 2 separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13, which is a gang that may be even worse than Tren de Aragua. It may be worse. They kill people with knives because it's more painful. Very famous for the knifing and killing of 2 young 16-year-old girls walking to school one day, and they sliced them up into little pieces and killed them. That's MS-13. And 2 separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13. When Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money pouring out, an MS-13 gang symbol that he was driving with 2 other known violent MS-13 gang members, 2 of the most violent members that we know of in the MS-13 gang of thugs. In 2022, Garcia was stopped by the Tennessee Highway Patrol, who was found to be transporting 7 people from Texas to Maryland, and he had no driver's license. He was driving violently. In 2020 and 2021, Garcia's wife filed for a protective order from him and said he was violent and abusive and really scary, including allegations that he punched and scratched her on the eye, left her bleeding after throwing her laptop on the floor at her, ripped her shirt, and ripped off her shorts. He then grabbed her arm, leaving very severe marks. Garcia's wife also wrote in court, "At this point, I am afraid to be close to him. I just don't want to be close. I have multiple photos and videos how violent he can be and all of the bruises that he's left on me." She just couldn't get anywhere near him. This is the man that the Democrats are wanting us to fly back from El Salvador to be a happily ensconced member of the USA family.
So, guys, what do you think about that? I mean, not only was he, a known MS-13 gang member, beat his wife, ripped his shirt off. She had two different court cases against him, court filings against him for that. And then he gets caught with no license in Texas. And when he got pulled over, he had 7 other people in the car. And his excuse was he was driving them from Texas to Maryland for work.
Trump's going to hunt down every single illegal alien like that. I don't know where it was. I read somewhere where ICE went into a section of one of the cities and came out with 250 illegal aliens that were all like this Garcia guy. So, just like the president of Costa Rica did that, or Costa Rica or
El Salvador.
Cleaning up El Salvador. I am totally confident that Trump is going to do that in this country. He has to. I mean, there are too many unvetted criminal aliens and unvetted medically as well that are in the country. And, the unvetted medically, the kids are in our schools. So, it's like they say, it's morning time in America. I think there's nothing but good stuff coming down, and this is going to be tough stuff getting these people out. And I'm 100% confident they have the right people doing it. He's got a dream team in there for for his cabinet.
Tom Homan, he was on top of this the whole time, and I was happy that they put him in charge of this. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, what's your shirt say today?
Angry Patriot, man, because I'm tired of this.
Yeah, so am I.
I'm tired of this. Listen, I just want some accountability for the stuff that these people have been doing.
Yeah.
I mean, we go ahead. We know that they were facilitating the illegals coming in. They have been doing so much dirt. We know that Biden and the Hunter, the Burisma scandals, right? We know that they've been using the Nazi propaganda and blame everything that you're doing on your enemies, right? And we've seen it with like I said, the Burisma going after Trump, right? With we're going to impeach him because he's looking into this. He did this. No, you did this.
Yeah.
And then we went ahead and the January 6th insurrection, You know, I mean, you see these people were in solitary confinement for 4 years. What happened to any arrest in the BLM 2020 riots? You know, there was no accountability. What happened? The cities where these people were rioting and burning them down, the cities paid them for arresting them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's wild. And then you just go ahead and you see, now we're going to get to in a little bit, the Letitia James, you know, where she goes after Trump saying, oh, he's trying to get favorable loans and he's inflating his numbers. Well, apparently now she's under investigation for doing that.
Yeah, well, let's save that for a second.
Sorry, my bad, but accountability. That's all I want. I want accountability.
Second segment is FAFO. I'm sure most of you know what that is by now. You know, I don't know, did Trump coin that or somebody on his team coin that? I forget, or maybe it's been around for a while. I don't know, but I just started hearing it a lot. But it's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm fed up with it.
I think folks in New Jersey should be not be lulled to sleep to think that none of this is happening in New Jersey. You know, that Paul Canitro, one of the assemblymen, did an analysis, a good estimate of the number of illegal aliens in the state of New Jersey. And a year ago, he had almost 900,000. So a year has gone by, you know, there was another half a year of Biden. There's likely over 1 million illegal aliens.
And that's the estimates right now.
Yeah, I think that's a fair, and of course, Murphy and the rulers in Trenton are not forthcoming with any of these numbers. You know, they keep it close to the vest. And this is all, every one of these is costing New Jersey taxpayers money.
Tons of money.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I can't
it's,
even imagine.
And Murphy's under investigation right now, right? Alina Hobb is looking into that, you know, because he wanted to stop ICE from coming in and doing their job. And then he said, "Oh, I have the my illegal housekeeper stays above my roof in a garage or something."
Yeah,
right?
Whatever happened with that? Because he came back and said he was joking.
Well, I don't know, but he's under investigation by Alina Hobb, so let's go ahead and see what happens with that.
Yeah,
I don't think she's going to let that slide.
I mean, I hope not. I hope they don't let anything slide. Like you said, accountability.
And that's it, right? I mean, we've seen the lawfare, and they keep coming after, you know, the right for this, that, and the other. It doesn't even matter. You breathe wrong, and they're coming after you. You know, I just, these people are out here committing legitimate crimes, and I think that we need to hold them accountable for that.
Yeah,
I want to see people go to jail.
Yeah, and they won't even talk about it. Like I said, they didn't even show that press conference on the other news networks.
Right. So the crimes you're referring to, I have a list of some of them that we can talk about in a later segment.
There you go.
Sounds good. Jack came prepared. You see, he's always this is my guy over here.
All I would do is I would warn the audience that when we start, you really should not have the kids in the room with you because it's brutal stuff.
That's happening right here at home.
This is happening in towns in New Jersey by illegal aliens, and you know.
So, yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. So let's roll the next clip. S1V2.
The Maryland man. He's a Maryland father. No, this is a violent person. Who they don't talk about is that wonderful angel mom who lost her daughter, who had 5 beautiful children, and she was killed violently. And, you know, she spoke unbelievably. I saw it. And the fake news didn't pick it up. She spoke. She was in tears. She's devastated. Her life is essentially, she told me her life is like over.
Yeah, that was just Trump just finishing up and the same thing, just talking more about it. There's just a lot of different things that Trump has done. So I might as well, when I was talking about them not airing it, I guess we might as well, let's roll into the S1V3 clip, and we'll play that. We'll talk how they were criticized for not airing Rachel Warren's mother's, her story.
Trump administration officials are slamming CNN and MSNBC for refusing to air the emotional White House remarks from Patty Marin, the mother of a Maryland woman who was brutally raped and murdered by an illegal immigrant. During the televised briefing, Marin gave graphic testimony about the 2023 killing of her 37-year-old daughter, Rachel, a mother of 5, by Victor Martinez Hernandez, a 24-year-old Salvadoran national who was convicted earlier this week. While she was speaking, MSNBC cut away to cover a Bernie Sanders rally in Montana, and CNN aired segments on California Governor Gavin Newsom and the NBA. White House Communications Director Stephen Chung called it shameful that both networks declined to carry Marin's statement, saying they refuse to acknowledge the consequences of illegal immigration. Elon Musk responded with a 100 emoji on X, while senior advisor Stephen Miller accused the networks of having contempt for victims of migrant crime. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr also weighed in, accusing MSNBC's parent company Comcast of distorting the news and failing to meet its obligation to serve the public interest. Carr pointed to the media's earlier coverage of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an MS-13 gang member now at the center of a deportation fight, saying they had wrongly described him as a typical Maryland man. Marin also voiced frustration with Senator Chris Van Hollen, who was calling for Abrego Garcia's release from a mega prison in El Salvador. She said the Maryland Democrat barely acknowledged her daughter's death.
And to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledge my daughter and the brutal death that she endured so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen.
See, now that's what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, but that really fucking pisses me off. Sorry for cursing, but it does. It really does. They cut her off. I mean, I listened to her story. I was coming to tears because she said she didn't have all the details during the investigation. They didn't want to let anything out. They knew that she was murdered, obviously. They didn't know all the details, how many times she was raped before this guy crushed her head in with a stone,
Right.
over and over again, and just talking about the details of it. And they cut away from it to talk about this
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders, and because they're so entrenched in that, and sticking to their guns. They don't know what to do. They can't show that because it makes them look bad. That's what makes me so pissed off about the mainstream media is they don't care. They don't care. They won't show you that. They won't talk about it. I guarantee you, mainstream media doesn't say anything about that 14-year-old girl that the news broke right before we started this show that was given to an illegal alien, 26 years old, saying it was a brother, he was a sponsor. How can you be a sponsor if you're illegal yourself? I mean, what kind of vetting did the Biden administration do? No. They didn't care about anybody, anything. They wanted votes, they wanted power, and that was it. Now, not all Republicans are great. Trust me. Not all politicians are great. But I'm just talking about guys like these two, trying to get in office, trying to make a difference. I mean, this is what we need. We need things like this. We can't just ignore, our America First agenda. We need to protect our citizens. I have a daughter. Pete has 2 daughters. Jack. I mean, you have grandchildren.
Yep.
I would lose my mind, and the media won't cover it because they're bought by the Democrats, and they can't change their narrative.
Yeah, and that's it. It doesn't fit their narrative. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who the head of the FCC is, the Communication Commission, but this phrase of serving the public good is a key phrase for these networks to keep their license. Their ability to broadcast, they must serve the public good. Years ago on the networks, the local networks, they would break in and do a 30-second thing about, the local network is renewing their own license. Mm-hmm. And you could, they gave a phone number if you have any complaints, that sort of thing. And it's renewing the license with the FCC. And I think these major networks, they are not serving the public good because this is lying by omission. Exactly. They have an obligation, to inform the public.
It's worse than that, Jack. It's worse than that. What they do is they go ahead and they're keeping people brainwashed. That any of their listeners right now, they're keeping them with their filthy propaganda, and they're splitting the country down the middle.
Yeah.
There's people that do their own research and find out what's really going on, like us right here, and anybody listening. And then there's people that just turn on the TV, CNN, MSNBC, doesn't matter. They're all repeating the same garbage.
Yeah.
You know, it's all lies. You
Right.
know, it's all manipulation tactic, and they're brainwashing half of the public.
Right, and that's creates class warfare.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Which is a hallmark of Marxism.
All roads lead back to communism. Where's that?
Yeah, right. And that was part of Biden's, if you want to call it a speech, the other day when he came out. He talked about the country's never been so divided. He was the divider in chief.
Yeah.
He's the one that started most of it.
I love how he comes out. The music is playing, and he starts his speech that no one can hear because the band is going. He doesn't have enough sense to wait for the music to stop before he starts his introduction.
You can't understand half of what he says anyway.
This guy is
calling black people cowards. I mean, in his speech, and then he still has that gift that he has, if you want to call it a gift or whatever, where he goes from a whisper. And he goes, I'm talking about
that's pretty
dignity.
creepy.
He goes, I'm talking about dignity. And I mean dignity. And it's like, whoa, what just happened? I mean, I don't know. It really disgusts me so much.
He's creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy Uncle Joe. You ain't wrong.
I mean, I don't even want to get into the stories.
The whole Democratic Party is a little creepy, if you ask me. There's an evil nature about them because all this stuff with the illegal immigration is just evil in out in front of us. This is because of it's going to destroy the country. It's going to change the country. Not to speak of the rapes, the murders, and that sort of thing. It's just a truly evil thing that they did.
They continue to try to destroy our culture, our cohesiveness, right, that we have here. I mean, it's anything that we held of value, they want to destroy so that we can that's the globalist agenda, right? That's what they want.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to get it.
Nope.
So we'll talk about this too. I'm going to roll the last clip for this segment, and I just want to show you this one because this is something that that Biden definitely didn't do. I mean, you see Trump talking every single day. I mean, he's either giving a press conference or he's sitting at the Oval Office. He's signing executive orders, but he's meeting with regular people as well. I mean, I haven't seen any other president really do this, well, especially as much as Trump does. But let's roll this clip and then we'll talk about this. This was pretty cool.
People. Okay, why don't we start just by we're going to be signing some executive orders. Yes, sir. And do you want to discuss it for a second, Will? And then we'll have a couple of the people speak. And it's my honor to help you. What they did to you is ridiculous.
I would agree.
How long has this been going on?
Well, there's a lot of this, but this one's been going on
since 2008.
2008, yeah, and it just gets bigger and bigger.
And they basically took away your fishing rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They cashed my tax check.
Was that Obama and Biden?
2014 was
Yeah.
when they expanded to do 500,000 square miles. Obama signed that in 2014.
It's so sad. It's so
Tiny
crazy.
one, and Obama.
It's too bad they won't pick it up properly. But it's so sad. Go ahead, Will.
So, as Peter said, sir, starting in 2009, continuing in 2014, a very large part of the American exclusive economic zone in the Pacific, amounting in total to 500,000 square miles of the American economic zone has been, exclusive economic zone has been held off limits to commercial fishing. We have a proclamation for your signature today, sir, that would reopen this area for commercial fishing by American flagged vessels only. This is a huge deal to the island populations in the Pacific, and we hope that this will lead to a new dawn for the American fishing industry in the Pacific Islands.
Could you, Captain, say a few words about how ridiculous this has been that you had to live like this? American Samoa.
We operate out of American Samoa. We supply to Starkist, American company, does military packs, and it's our right. The U.S. has the biggest EEZ in the Pacific, and yet we can't fish there, and it seems unfair. And I'm glad that we're opening it up so that we can feed our people.
And tell them how large an area we're talking about.
The Pacific is big, but this is a huge area. Again, the U.S. has the biggest EEZ in the Pacific.
Free California.
It's an area
and it's
3
shut off.
Californias.
It's an area the size of 3 Californias. They can't fish there.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
I mean, you see that? I mean, that's amazing. These people that they shut down over the size of 3 Californias.
It's an assault on the country.
Yeah, or Canadians can fish there, other countries can fish, but we can't. Started under the
Obama. That's what I was going to say. It goes back a lot longer than just the last 4 years under Biden, right?
Yeah.
This destruction of America has been planned for a long time. We all talk about all the time, 1963. But we really started to see it ramp up, in the 2010s, right? Early 2010s, late 2000s.
What would be the reason? I mean, I don't understand what their Green New Deal and conservative wildlife. We'll talk about that. But why allow other countries to fish in that area when Americans have to drive 500? But they drive for at least 3 days. Or not drive, sail or by boat or whatever. 3 days until you get past the point to where they're allowed to fish. And then at that time, they're already competing with other countries that already,
But I like the fact that they opened it up to American flag ships only.
Yeah.
Which is everybody else is out and America first.
Yeah, and what they said too, they also said with more American ships out there, because it was later on in the clips, I listened to the whole thing, then there are more American ships can spot poachers that shouldn't be fishing there, and they would make it easier for the Coast Guard to check on it. So I mean, that's just a simple fix,
right? And these are the sort of things that'll it'll increase the supply of seafood, on the store shelves, which will
lower the price.
Yeah.
So
this most for swordfish and the bluefin tuna, which is like sashimi, the sushi green tuna, stuff like that. I mean, we import most of it because we're not allowed to fish out there. Even Maine's getting killed with their lobsters. They have to go out. Go out further and further. Yeah. So he talks about that in the clip too. He said we're going to square that one away too.
Right.
For Maine lobsters because they can't even, I guess you would call it fish for lobsters or whatever, but catch lobsters, within so far, they have to go out so far.
Yeah.
I mean,
lobstering,
lobster catch, the deadliest catch, maybe. I don't know. Whatever it is. But I mean, that stuff is that Trump does. I mean, invite these people that never met a president, never thought they were going to meet a president, have their own fishing business. It's been part of their family for years, and we're always allowed to fish there. And then Obama steps in and says, nope, not anymore. Other countries can, but the United States can't. That makes no sense whatsoever.
That's where it started, right? Obama last, America last.
Yeah.
That's you see it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just.
That's the first time I heard that clip. I didn't even know that was going on.
No, I didn't either. Yeah.
Yeah, this came out yesterday. Because every other day, he's got somebody in there signing an executive order.
Right.
But he'll bring in, just regular everyday working people. Some people are getting affected by, these regulations that make no sense whatsoever.
And he could have literally just signed the pen and said, okay, it's done. But no, you're right. He brings them in, makes a spectacle of it.
And
gives them an experience, a lifetime experience. He's about the American people.
Yeah, and he lets them tell their story. I mean, even Vance said one time when he was asking, he said his final, the person that pushed him over the edge to pick Vance as VP, he said he was already thinking about Vance. And he swears by it. He said Trump said it was his gardener. He said he went out and he said, I'm still on the fence on my VP. And he asked the gardener about JD Vance. And he said, I really like JD. And he said, that's who it's going to be. And he told JD, he said, really, the gardener picked me? So, I mean, I believe it's true. He told the story quite a few times. But Trump talks to everybody.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, he talks to everybody. He doesn't care.
Well, when he can't trust the people in the government, you go to the everyday guy and see what they got to say,
Yeah. Yeah, Trump talks to everybody but us. Trump. We'd like to have you on.
Fly us out, buddy.
Yeah. So, all right. So before we go on our next segment, one thing I have to talk about is this book right here, Bone Deep Blues. Now, Bone Deep Blues is written by, I'm going to say local because he lives in the state of New Jersey. So he's one of our guys, but you don't have to live in New Jersey to buy this book. Now, Bone Deep Blues is ripped from today's headlines by New Jersey author Brian O'Callahan. This book is an award-winning international bestseller that delivers action, suspense, and humor. The story follows J.D. Walker, a former Navy SEAL turned blues musician, as he confronts a human trafficking network led by a figure known as the Ice Queen. When those close to J.D. are taken, he finds himself in a high-stakes chess game, an auction to sell his brother's fiancée is about to take place. Brian O'Callahan, a former police detective, combines personal experiences and extensive research, weaving in his passion for blues music. Bone Deep Blues kicks off the J.D. Walker action series and tackles the pressing issue of human trafficking with well-developed characters that spring to life in this fast-paced narrative. This exhilarating book is now available in print and digital format on Amazon.com and thebigdogmedia.com. That's Bone Deep Blues, a J.D. Walker adventure by Brian R. O'Callahan. And by the way, there's a 4.8 out of 5-star reviews. It is a great book. I read it. Brian got me to read my first book in years. So, but
good job, buddy.
It was probably high school.
He's well read now.
Yeah, I think the last one I read fully was like The Catcher in the Rye.
Of Mice and Men.
But no, it was a very good book, and I know he's got another one coming out pretty soon. So keep at it, Brian. It's really good. But everyone go, like I said, Amazon.com, thebigdogmedia.com. Go check it out. It's about you can get it in digital format.
Does it have it in Audible yet? That's what I need Audible.
I got to ask him that. Well, no, there is something there's an app you can convert books to audio. There's an app for that. I just found it today.
Check you out, bro. You're ahead of the game over here.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn.
You should read 1984 again.
1984?
Read it as an adult and during this time period. It's terrifying.
How real it is now.
How real it is. I mean,
and everything.
I bought that one not too long ago. Yeah, man.
It's everything that took place during the Biden administration is mentioned in 1984.
Well, they even made the oh my God, I can't think of what the ministry was, but they tried the Ministry of Truth, right?
Yeah.
In 1984. Biden tried to dub the fact checkers the Ministry of Truth.
That's right.
You know, I mean, he literally took it word for word right out of the book.
And the idea of a memory hole. In other words, they had people, if they eliminated a person, right, they would not only eliminate the person, but they would eliminate his entire history back to his birth. So there would be no history of that person. He would be totally wiped off as though he never existed. And in a way, that's what the press does. You know, even
well, that was cancel culture.
What they do is that they have these, these big news items, and then they forget about it.
Yeah,
and they call it, they memory hole it. In other words, it's wiped out. Right? They don't talk about it anymore, and people forget about it. Right?
Well, Biden memory hold himself.
It's right out of memory hole.
Yeah. So, yeah, I should read that as an adult. I know, I remember it, and you're right about what you're saying. But
well, I mean, just think of the whole Mueller thing, right? That went on for what, 2.5 years?
Oh yeah,
and boom, it's been memory hold. It's gone now.
Oh yeah, like it never happened. Yeah, Russia,
and that's exactly what they did in 1984.
Yeah,
erase the history of it. So
all right. Well, we'll go into our next segment. That's FAFO, which is F around and find out.
Fighters take the stand from shore to shore. We reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore, we make our stand.
All right, guys. Welcome to segment 2, FAFO. So, this one is more about. We're going to talk about what Trump is doing, pulling funding from states like Maine, going toe-to-toe with Janet Miller, the governor of Maine, who still believes that biological men should play in women's sports. But let's play S2V1, and then we'll get started talking about it.
Good morning. With me here today, I have our great Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, Representative Laurel Libby of the Maine State House, Linnea Saltz of IWF Women's Sports Advocate, Stephanie Turner, a fencer, Zoe Hutchison, a Maine athlete, Cassidy Carlisle, a Maine athlete, and my dear friend, you all know, Riley Gaines, who has been a champion on this issue for women. Today, the Department of Justice is announcing a civil lawsuit against the Maine Department of Education. The state of Maine is discriminating against women by failing to protect women in women's sports. Pretty basic stuff. This is a violation of Title IX. The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports. This is about sports. This is also about these young women's personal safety. These are just a few examples. a biological boy started competing in women's ski races and cross-country races in Maine. He came in first in the 5K with a time that would have been 43rd among men. In February 2025, a biological boy won first place in the pole vaulting competition in Maine's indoor track and field meet. He beat every other girl by a significant margin. That qualified him for regional championships. That took a spot away from a young woman in women's sports. Shame on him.
So, what do you think about that? So there's still, Maine sticking behind it. Janet Mills sticking behind it. You'll see a clip later where Trump goes toe-to-toe. It's an older clip I played before a few episodes ago. But
I think this represents the level of contempt that the Democratic Party has for women, because there could be nothing that's more unfair than what they're doing to our young girls and women that have to put up with biological males in locker rooms and in restrooms and that sort of thing. The idea of protecting our daughters and our wives for the Democrats, no, it's because these individuals that think they're women, they are not female. It's just they are confused, and there's some basic characteristics. The 3-point test for whether you're a woman or not is your body set up to menstruate, gestate, and lactate? If your body can do those 3 things, you're a woman.
So you can't be a chest feeder or a birthing person.
It can't be.
So
if your body is not set up to do that, you're a dude.
You know that the CDC came out with guidelines for male breastfeeding.
Yeah,
that's real.
Right. So what they're doing is they're extracting some sort of liquid.
Yeah, they're giving something that produces some kind of.
But the nutrients that are in breast milk for the baby is loaded with vitamins and
fat. It's all about fat at that point in time.
Yeah,
but it's also antibodies that they're passing off in the mothers and things like that, right? That's how you get a lot of your immunizations, as a child.
Let's be real here. That's what I mean. For these men, they're extracting some sort of liquid, but it's not breastfeeding. It's not mother's milk or anything like that. It's just totally absurd.
Well, they're trying, it's all about, it's just like that story that you were telling, Damon, the CIA, okay, with the triangles and the square.
We got to tell Jack.
It's all about, convincing people that the lies are truth and the things that you believe are truths are actually lies. It's all manipulation, because if you can go ahead and convince somebody that the truth is not the truth, you can basically convince them to do anything you want.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's go back to 1984.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
In 1984, the main character, the protagonist, his name was Winston, and he was the independent thinker that always wanted to look back in history. He had heard about this independent country. This was before Big Brother took over.
Big Brother.
But eventually, the government caught him and basically tortured him. And they kept saying, Winston, tell us 2 + 2 is 5. Admit it, right? In other words, keep saying something that is so ridiculous that it becomes truth. And they kept saying, say that, Winston. Tell us 2 + 2 is 5. I won't tell you how it ended, right? But this is our 2 + 2 = 5 moment.
But they actually tried to teach. They pushed that. 2 + 2 = 5.
Yeah. This is our moment. Men are not women, and women are not men, and 2 + 2 is not equal to 5. This is not something where you can compromise and say, well, he's sort of a woman or sort of. No, it's never 5.
Well, the UK Supreme Court just went ahead and passed the law that women are women, trans women are not women.
Yeah, it's like movie. Am I racist?
Well, that was in
Remember-
England. Wasn't that
Remember
England?
Matt Walsh?
England,
Was
UK.
it England? Yeah, I think it was.
It was England, which I read that and I thought, what a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got it.
Yeah, it's real life.
So let me, with regard to women in men's sports.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
All right, here's just a couple examples. In the Massachusetts field hockey incident in 2023, November 2023, a female hockey player from a high school up there sustained facial injuries, including 2 knocked out teeth after being struck by a shot from a male player at this high school. The incident led to the committee making changes, et cetera, et cetera. What this means to me is terrible that her teeth got knocked out. But if that ball was 6 inches higher, she gets it in the forehead. We're not talking about a dental issue. We're talking about a funeral.
Yeah.
So North Carolina, 2022, Peyton McNabb, high school volleyball player. This is the one that's on the news. Suffered concussion, neck injury after being hit, spiked by a transgender player. Massachusetts basketball game 2024, collegiate girls basketball forfeited because 2 of their players were injured by a transgender player on the opposite. So 2 girls were injured. MMA fighter, Fallon Fox. I think this one was on TV. I guess this was boxing, right? Where the
Was that the Olympics?
Was that the Olympics?
maybe that was the
It was
Olympics.
Yeah.
Right. So
And took one punch and that was it. I'm done. I'm done.
yeah, I mean, so you're putting an individual on
At
the
risk.
field with greater muscle mass than
Mhm.
these girls. These girls will never have the muscle mass of these men. Greater lung capacity than the girls. Greater bone density. Greater speed. They hit harder. It's
And not to mention, as soon as you start getting, some of these people put on all these hormones, okay, what is it that you get when you start taking testosterone or something like that, right? Roid rage.
Yeah.
Okay, you always heard if you see these people, as soon as you start messing with those, you get complete side effects and mental lapses and hostility, all types of
Right.
different things.
and people in New Jersey should be aware that all these things that I just read are covered by law in New Jersey. It's completely legal for women or biological males to go into a ladies' room if they identify as such and play in girl sports. It is codified in the state of New Jersey. This is why I need to be elected and Pete needs to be elected, because all this stuff needs to be gutted out, root and branch, as they say. The whole thing's got to come out.
You just mentioned about the bathrooms. I mean, Loudoun County, right? Isn't that where that little girl was raped in the bathroom by
Yeah, they covered it up, moved to another school, and they did to another girl. And the father wound up getting arrested.
Right. So out of 600 school districts in New Jersey, I think it's probably about 26 have rejected this, what's called policy 5756. This is the New Jersey policy, which actually has its origin with our opponent, Lou Greenwald, signed the first bill that grew into policy 5756. And so that policy is in place today. And this is the one that is sort of infamous for the secrets in the high school, where a student can announce to the guidance counselor and the principal that he or she thinks they're the opposite sex, and the school will accommodate them.
Yeah.
Right?
And not tell the parents.
And not tell the parents, but there is no requirement for medical confirmation or psychological, something from child study team or a psychologist. This is simply on the whim or the pronouncement of the boy who thinks now he's a girl. And what the school systems are required to do is to begin calling that boy by the female pronouns, number one. And number two, they need to create a parallel file in the school system identifying that individual as a girl now. So he's got a parallel file with the female name. And if the parents ever call in, they obscure it. They will talk to the parents as though they're still a boy and never let them know that he has changed his sex, in school, which is major milestone on the way to puberty blockers and the, I mean, making a public announcement that a boy is now a girl is the first major step, that you come out among your peers as the opposite sex.
Yeah, I remember 2 years ago when I was campaigning. Actually, it was up in Oregon. They tried to pass a Senate Bill 1599. It was, and it was create host homes for runaway kids that were
in Jersey or
no, this is up in Oregon.
Oh, in Oregon.
Yeah, I was just looking into all this kind of stuff, and same thing. You know, if they thought they were a boy and they were a girl, or vice versa, you know, they would do the same thing. They wouldn't tell the parents. They, you know, no obligation to tell them. But if the kids would run away, they created these host homes where the kids could be medically treated. You know, for
well, New Jersey is a sanctuary state for transgender kids.
Sanctuary state for a lot of things.
Yeah. So kids that might be in Ohio that for whatever reason the parents don't go along, whatever, he can become a refugee and go in hiding in New Jersey. And New Jersey will not cooperate with anyone from Ohio.
That's unbelievable.
This is all
as a minor, by the way. As a minor, I mean, this is just
it's unbelievable. It's just,
and sticking with the sports things too. I mean, this is taking away scholarships. It's taking away Olympic dreams from women. You know that. Well, I mean, my daughter, she's very good at lacrosse. Her team is very good now, and she takes pride in playing. I could imagine a boy coming in there and just destroying her team. I mean, they're number one in their little league right now. They weren't that good, but they've been playing together as a team for a couple of years now. Now they're very good, and they worked hard at it. And if a biological male come into play, then I think I would suit up and go in and play. You know, on my daughter's team, and now go right after that biological male and hit him with the biggest check he's ever seen in his entire life, and then maybe he'll never play again.
Welcome to Thunderdome.
Yeah. I mean, if you take like in swimming, usually when they have a championship meet, they will have the trials on one day, and then the finals on the next day. Well, in any given event, there may be 50 or 60 kids, you know, in the 100-meter freestyle, something like that. And the top six, well, you know, whoever the top six are, they will go to the finals the next day. So number 6, that's where my heart breaks. Who would have been number 6? You put a guy in there, number 6 drops to number 7. So they don't get to go to the finals. They don't get in front of the college coaches. They don't get to potentially go to the next step, which are the Olympic trials. You know, all those things are gone. And in swimming, it's particularly bad because of the number of hours that's required in practice to get. It's one of those sports where the ratio of practice time to actual event time, there's a huge discrepancy. You may have to practice for 100 hours just for a 1-minute race, you know, that sort of thing.
So, and they got smoked out there in that Riley Gaines and, you know, Leah Thomas. I mean, it was like a foot taller and, you know.
There's no. I think in track, I read this somewhere, a 13-year-old boy runs as fast, like a champion 13-year-old sprinter runs as fast as the world record holder for women's 100-meter dash. So at 13, a boy is just as fast as, and you know, that's just the beginning of their, you know, going into manhood. So,
and I said a mediocre male athlete can jump into the female space and crush it, you know, and win all the medals, win all the golds, and take spots away.
Yeah, put men in women's prisons.
Yeah, and they're winding up pregnant.
Yeah, I know. I must say, I don't blame the person. If I was going to prison, I would go. I'm like, I identify as a girl. They're going to throw me in women's prison. I mean, I really can't blame them. But no, it shouldn't happen.
Listen, down in Florida, I was working right at the mental facility. If they came in and said that they were transgender, they get a private room. Otherwise, you got a roommate. You know, so I mean, the same thing was happening down there.
Yeah, well, they say if there's one man in a woman's prison, you know, the one-eyed king is the man. The one-eyed man is king in the land of the blind. So the three-legged man in the land of the women.
I guess.
But all right, let's hear from let's play S2V2. We'll hear from some of the girls here, from like Lake and Riley and I said Lake and Riley. I'm sorry, Riley Gaines. Apologize.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi. It's unfortunate that we have to be here today because Governor Mills and legislative Democrats, along with Maine Principals Association, continue to persist in discriminating against Maine women and girls. They are out of alignment with 2/3 of Mainers who believe that biological males have no place in girls' sports. Earlier this week, MSAD 70 School Board voted unanimously to align with Title IX. They're in alignment with 2/3 of my fellow Mainers. And I would encourage other school boards throughout Maine, I would exhort you to speak up for Maine girls similarly and vote to align with Title IX.
So these are girls that are just speaking out about it, and we can, if you want to roll in the next clip associated with this one, and then finish this one out, the ones that are associated with this clip, and you'll hear Riley Gaines, you'll hear another girl talk about it, and just hear about what they had to go through, how they lost, to watch her friend lose, or the 13-year-old girl first time going into her locker room, there's male genitalia exposed. I mean, it's just amazing. So we'll just roll through the rest of these quick clips and hear what they have to say, and then we can go and talk about
Goodness
it.
gracious, it's an honor to be here, to stand beside, of course, Secretary McMahon, Attorney General Bondi, these amazingly brave athletes, Representative Libby. But truthfully, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that we have to be here, that we as women have to stand before you all on national television demanding equal opportunities, demanding privacy in areas of undressing, demanding safety in our sports. Amazing to me that we are still here fighting this fight, that the Democratic Party has really doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on their ridiculous stance, but that's exactly what they've done.
Tell us about your sport, Lisa.
So I compete in soccer and indoor track and outdoor track. And like was mentioned previously today, I had to watch at the Maine Class B State Indoor Track Championship as my close friend and my teammate and other female competitors lost the state championship to a biological male. And this was heartbreaking for me to have to watch. And Riley said that it's betrayal, and that's what it is. It is the job of our elected officials to protect our young female athletes, and they have failed to.
Good. Yeah, I thought may have had another clip there. There was another girl talking about when she was 13, walking into the locker room for the first time, and there was a naked guy in there. Like, I can imagine my daughter's 11, she's going on 12. I mean, if that ever happened, I don't know. You know what I would do? Like, I've given my daughter, gave her about 12 like trigger words, you know, that she hears in school. You know, you hear this, that, the other. I said, you come home and tell Dad. You know, don't tell me the sentence. It's just a certain word that I know that it's going to be associated with a certain sentence. And she's been good with it. I mean, she told me a couple of things, but it wasn't really alarming because West Thetford School District, they don't abide by the 5756. So that's a good thing. But I just, you know, it's just back to common sense, man. Why would you want? Janet Mills is a woman. I mean, why does she believe that biological men should play women's sports?
Yeah, it's beyond comprehension.
For women's rights to vote, for everything else, you know, to be.
Well, that's why, because, you know, look, once you do that and you're not, you can't say, okay, we won, we got women's rights now, you know, let's go home. It's always looking for the next thing to fight for, right? I mean, that's unfortunately how that all works. You know, you said something a while back, Damon, and it was, where are all the strong Democrat men at, right? Do you remember saying that to me?
Yeah.
Because, you know, men are supposed to protect women.
Yeah.
Right? That's like in our DNA, right? You can't change it. I'm sorry. Men are supposed to protect women.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they keep allowing this to happen. Like, how do you keep getting on the wrong side of these 80-20 issues and you think that this is okay? Are you afraid to say something? Are you afraid you'll get kicked out of your party? Or do you really believe that this is okay? Like, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it does. It does. And it's not a bad thing to say. I mean, like you said, it is in their DNA.
Yeah.
I mean, men, like you said before, men are stronger, they're faster, their lung capacities. I mean, there's a reason why
But since the beginning of time, that was it.
And the women are more nurturers and stuff like that. They're better at a lot of stuff than men are. And men, hey, that's why we die younger. You know, we break our bodies.
Now they have articles out where women say that they would rather be in the woods with a bear than in the woods with a man. All right, because apparently that's you're gonna be able to reason with a bear.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the other thing is where's the women's movement?
Yeah,
you know, and
they're moving for men and women's dresses. You know, for the trans movement. That's where they are.
Yeah. They keep talking about Title IX. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Title IX came into existence back in the 70s. And it wasn't exclusively about sports. It was more about giving women the opportunity at the college level to go into every area of study that men go into. Because in the 60s and 70s, when girls graduated from high school, first of all, they rarely went to college. And then if they did go to college, they would be a nurse or they'd be a teacher. They would never be a physicist. They would never be a chemist. They would never be a mathematician. And there were no sports. Right?
Yeah.
You know, there was nothing for women, basically, be a waitress, be a wife, right? So Title IX came about, and that's the thing that said, whatever you open up for the men, you must open up for the women, including sports. And if you see girls, you know, when you go by high school and you see girls swim team and track team and all, that's all because of Title IX back in the 70s. And if you see, you know, a female astronaut, aeronautical engineer, doctors, lawyers, that's all because of Title IX.
Yeah.
And it was during the Biden administration that from a sports standpoint, the original Title IX recognized men and women. So, and it recognized that, yes, you can have a girl's room and a boy's room, and it would not be discrimination. In other words, there was a carve out for biological difference. So you can have a sorority and a fraternity and not mix the two. Yeah, you can't bring a civil rights thing against it because Title IX protected those two separate entities. And then when Biden came along, he erased men and women, and they based it on gender identity. So, you know, Title IX, that's when Title IX changed. This is residue from all this garbage. And amazingly, like you're saying, how this continues on and like how these girls are, how can we be here today and still be fighting this fight?
Exactly.
Is beyond me.
Well, that's what she said. Why is it that we have to be up here?
Yeah.
You know, why is it that we have to do this? Where are the men at?
Yeah. When did they stop making men?
Where are the mothers and where are the fathers of these girls?
Well,
come on now.
Probably on antidepressants, but we won't go there right now.
You know,
yeah, I mean, and you can see too, like, you know, especially with the transgenders too. I don't know if there was no shooting in was that
FSU, Florida State University?
Was it Florida?
Yeah,
yeah. He was the son of a sheriff, I believe.
I didn't look into it. I did see it though,
but I don't know. That, obviously, there were some mental health issues there. You know, and you always talk about into in prison, but a lot of people get confused with multiple gender stuff like that. They're teaching in schools, and I mean, I attribute that to things like that. And all of a sudden, of course, CNN, they interview one of the college kids there and say, oh, we got to get gun control right away. You know, that's what their thing is. I mean, the gun doesn't shoot itself. It's the person. So, and just that transgender girl.
Where was that? The Tennessee?
Yeah, had a whole
manifesto.
Yeah. Never brought it out. They
refused to show it. Yeah,
they won't show it because, you know, it doesn't fit the narrative that it was. You know, they were psychologically imbalanced because of they were confused about their gender, and they were treated as such, what they thought that they were, and they didn't fit in. They weren't treated for gender dysphoria, which is in DSM-5, lady who I interviewed back at Tesla dealership, by the way. Hope you catch one of these one day. I read it too. So, but yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. But
all this, all this happened. The big change was in 2012. There was, prior to that, there was the struggle of gay men and gay women fighting for
marriage rights, right?
Marriage rights, right?
And they said it was a slippery slope.
Right. And back then, in 2012, there was a court case, Obergefell versus Hodges. And this was the case that gave gay men and gay women the same civil rights.
They'd have a civil union.
And have a civil union. And they have the same civil rights as a heterosexual married couple. And at that point, it was LGB. There was no T, really, before 2012.
But once again, they won that fight, and you have to progress to the next thing.
That's right.
You can't just stop and say, we won. You have to keep going.
Right. And then the T came out of the closet, and there was immediate.
And the Q, X divided by sign, minus
A, W, I don't know.
Squared. Whatever.
So the T came out, and it's, what's the progression? You sort of accept it, right, first, and then you celebrate it, right, and then celebrate with them, and then I don't know, then it becomes law or something like that, whatever the steps are.
And then you forget what everything is. There's no more reality.
And then all of a sudden, and to me, this is the most amazing thing, and I got to hand it to the transgender activists. They were able to get this ridiculous notion into the curriculum of our schools. So we're teaching our youngest 5-year-olds that this is reality.
Yeah.
That is, to me, that is the most amazing accomplishment, as awful as it is, that they could get this into the curriculum in the state of New Jersey and virtually.
And tell a child with underdeveloped brain that they could be whatever. I mean, I get it back in the day. They'd say, you can be whatever when you grow up. You can be an astronaut. You can be that. Yeah, that's a healthy thing. But, but when you say you could be a girl
cat,
or a boy or a cat
a wolf,
or whatever, a furry or whatever you want to be. I mean, I can just imagine. I mean, like I said before, I said this many times. I have an 11-year-old daughter and, a 6-year-old son. So, my son does play with my daughter with her toys sometimes. She's getting a little too old for toys now. She's into more advanced stuff. But even when they were younger. But if I told my son that he was a girl from the day he was born, or he could be a girl, I'd like, you could be Gianna's sister if you want. And then he chose to say, yeah, I think it'd be better as a sister. He would grow up thinking that he's a girl. I mean, it's what you tell a child that has an underdeveloped brain. I mean, they've said it many times, just like they believe in certain, holidays, like one that's coming up tomorrow.
Yes. I mean, there's been no civilization in the history of mankind that taught their young boys that they could be girls. There's no society ever.
No.
Well, so
except in New Jersey.
So we don't. Well, no, not New Jersey, but right now the West. So what's happening is, right? If you pay attention, okay, we see the globalists out there, right? And what is it they keep saying? They're trying to decrease the world's population from 8 billion to 1 billion. Have you guys heard this?
I've heard about it.
We are the carbon they want to reduce. You've seen the memes.
Charles Schwab, Dr. Evil.
Yeah, there you go, right? Yeah. So I mean, if you go ahead and you convince women that they should abort their children.
Yeah.
You convince the children that are already here that you're not that. You should sterilize yourself and take these hormone blockers and puberty blockers and all these things. I mean, that's the goal that they're moving towards, right? That's the end. I mean, you see it right there in front of your face.
So, each one of these things, this is like America dying by a million cuts. So you've got that. You got the curriculum changing. You've got massive migration, right? With the
destroy our culture.
Ultimate intent to destroy the culture and to ultimately get rid of the Constitution.
Yeah. Oh, they stopped teaching cursive. right? Because if you could read what rights you had, you know what. But if you can't read the rights anymore, then you don't know.
Yeah. And then economically, with all with this fishing stuff, each one of these things is a little cut.
Yeah.
That destroys the country. The voting, the whole stuff about mail-in voting is to destroy that.
Well, the housing
institution.
prices right now, people can't afford to buy a house. I mean, the electric bills, we see all the bills just whittling and nickel and diming us down.
Yeah. So since we're talking about teaching transgender in kindergarten.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. Because these are kids that are still playing, they're still singing head, shoulders, and knees and toes.
Yeah.
Right. So our buddy Lou Greenwald voted yes on Bill A 4454. The New Jersey State Assembly approved A 4454 in January of 2021, which would mandate sexual orientation and gender identity diversity lessons starting in kindergarten and in every grade. Now that's 12 years of this. That's in the curriculum. There's no person anywhere on this earth that can predict what the outcome of all this education is going to be on these kids. So
I mean, what's the point of starting in kindergarten?
Because their brain is still developing. You get them early, and you warp reality, and it'll be easier for them to believe it as they get older. If you give them a basic, solid foundation, they can overcome that down the road, right?
Yeah.
If they have a solid American first, foundation. But if you go ahead and let them continue, you start with a fake foundation, you can convince them of anything.
That's
right.
right.
I hear you there, but what's up with Lou Greenwald? I mean, he's been here for 30 years. Did he believe this 30 years ago?
He probably got paid.
Well, this is in 2021. Well, I mean, he went along with the party, basically.
Soul to soul.
They always do. They always vote in lockstep.
Yeah. And this is evil. The Democratic Party is an evil party. They really are. I don't think you can get away from that. This is as bad as you get. This is abuse of a child. There's no question about it.
Agreed.
It is. So, all right. Well, we have a couple more clips to finish out this segment. So this one is this clip here is we played it a while ago. This is when Trump first had his first little spat with Janet Mills from Maine. So be careful what you wish for.
Trump administration is not soon forgetting the widespread pro-Palestine protests that swept across university campuses last year. Some of the
That's not the right one. It's the one that
These people are amazing people. Okay, why don't we start just by we're going to be signing some executive orders. Yes, sir. And do you want to discuss it for a second, Will? And then we'll have a couple of people speak. And it's my honor to help you what they did to you.
Thank you, Caroline. To follow up on something.
That's all right. We can scrap that one. Because basically what it was, we did play it before. It was just basically Trump was there with a bunch of governors. He asked, is the governor of Maine here?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and then she said, well, I abide by federal law. He said, well, we are the federal government. And, biological men are not allowed to play in women's sports. And she goes, well, I'll see you in court then. He goes, okay, yeah, that'll be an easy one. And good luck getting elected again, because we'll never get elected.
80-20 issues.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're doing.
And now they're forced to take her to court. Now they're suing. Yeah. So be careful what you wish for.
The Democratic Party has really gotten so weakened, and it's really lost.
And no leadership.
It's an opportunity for a third party to be created.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what form it'll take, but this has been done in history before. The Whigs were there, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Right. This might be the same thing with the Democrats.
Well, they've gotten so progressive. Yeah, I mean, they're just.
Well, I'm not even saying it's going to even look like the Democratic Party. This could be maybe people that are somewhat aligned with, with Trump, but just different way to do it. That's what the Democratic Party used to be. The Democratic Party used to be, we want America to flourish, not we want to destroy America. That changed somewhere, like you were saying, probably really ramped up during Obama. That's really when it got started. But you know, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the Democratic Party, you know, it was a different party. They wanted to do things differently, but they all had the best interest of America in mind.
You used to be able to communicate on issues, right? And say,
Mhm.
no, I think this, and you could argue your points. And now it's just like completely two different ideologies. I mean, it's nuts.
Completely, yeah. Pete and I on a radio show last night, because that goes on Facebook Live, and I just they said it right at the end because I wished everyone happy Easter, and I made that same joke about Biden being resurrected from the dead, and this girl just put in the chat box something like "Keep Jesus's name out of your evil monster, hatred mouth or something."
Traitor.
Yeah, something like that. And now then it ended, so I couldn't even reply.
So we don't let her up, and her profile picture, she's got vampire teeth. Like, come on, guy, what are we doing here?
But all right, so let's roll it. This is more of the FAFO. Let's throw the next clip. This is Trump that is pulling funding. I think it was a clip that you just played there from Harvard University. So it should be S1, I guess maybe 6 if that's the one you played last time.
To follow up on something that you just said, why do Ivy League schools get so much federal funding?
It's a very good question, and it's a question the president has obviously raised in his discussions and negotiations with not just Harvard, but also Columbia and many other Ivy League institutions. We have the anti-Semitism task force, which the president promised and delivered on. The anti-Semitism task forces across the government, representatives from various federal agencies who meet on a weekly basis to discuss the question that you just raised. And I think a lot of Americans are wondering why their tax dollars are going to these universities when they are not only indoctrinating our nation's students, but also allowing such egregious illegal behavior to occur. The president at that time made it clear to the American public he was not going to tolerate illegal harassment and anti-Semitism taking place in violations of federal law. So the president made it clear to Harvard, follow federal law, no longer break Title VI, which was passed by Congress to ensure no student can be discriminated against on the basis of race, and you will receive federal funding. Unfortunately, Harvard has not taken the president or the administration's demands seriously. All the president is asking, don't break federal law, and then you can have your federal funding. I think the president is also begging a good question. More than $2 billion out the door to Harvard when they have a more than $50 billion endowment. Why are the American taxpayers subsidizing a university that has billions of dollars in the bank already? And we certainly should not be funding a place where such grave anti-Semitism exists.
Yeah, and then there you go. I mean, they have over $50 billion. Why are we giving them $2 billion a year? So yeah, cut it. If they want to go against the Civil Rights Act and all that, and
they should cut it.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did it in the first place. I mean, you know, they charge some of the most outlandish fees that are in there, right? In these Ivy League schools. I mean, they don't have enough money to pay for their own stuff.
Yeah, we were talking about it before that when they receive federal funding. Now the price to go to Harvard in the past decade, the past 10 years, went up 35%.
Yeah,
and that's 35% of a lot of damn money to go to Harvard.
As soon as the federal government got involved with student loans and started backing student loans, so that no matter what, you're going to get your money. These colleges can charge whatever they want for admission because they guaranteed payment.
Right. I mean, I think it was, again, one of the cuts to destroy the country is to put generations in debt. And I think,
no, of course.
Look, I mean, there are plenty of accountants in Washington as they looked at, relative size of loans and ability to pay back. Somebody certainly looked at that balance there and said, hey, these people are never going to be able to. I think even Villanova is like $90,000 a year.
And then it's the compounding interest that really gets you on top of the whopping bill.
I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people, but if they take loans out, that's it for their life. They could be in debt. I really think it's part of the scam. When my kids were in college, there were people coming out of the woodwork, wanting to lend them money. And it is tempting. And frankly, a kid coming out of high school doesn't know what $100,000 is. He doesn't understand the impact on their life. It's
especially not nowadays.
Yeah. So I'm sort of sympathetic to the students that are burdened because I think they've been tricked.
Of course.
A lot of these degrees are worthless. The schools know it. And I think there's also a problem with accreditation. There's too many schools that are being accredited as a college or a university when they're really just a 13th and 14th grade high school is really what it is.
What my problem was with higher education is that they always make you take these classes that have nothing to do with your degree. Of course. Yeah, of course. You're gonna be a nurse. You need world studies. You need world history. I mean, look, I love world history. Made no mistake about it. But is that really relevant right now to what I got going on here? Well, no. We want well-rounded students. You just want to jack up my tuition price. Like, what are we talking about?
You got to take your preliminary courses first.
Yeah.
My wife went through the same thing, and she went to college late. It was after we were married. It was 25 when I got married, and it was after we had our daughter. She decided she wanted to go to school. She was working for Middlesex County Health Department at the time. It was a stable job, but didn't pay much. So she talked about going to college, and she was interested in working for a law firm. Wanted to be a paralegal. So I went with her to talk to the school counselor, and they sold her on this paralegal thing. You can come right out of college, starting off at $70,000 a year. You get with a really good firm. 100, and then you make 150 a year because paralegals do all the legwork pretty much for lawyers. And don't get
law school.
Yeah, after the fact. So she got a degree. It took her 5 years because she was going at night, and she worked really hard at it. And she, and she did very well. So she tried to apply for jobs, and every single job she applied for said they wanted at least 2 years experience. So, how do you do that coming out of college? And they said they wanted to start her off at $11 an hour for 2 years. It didn't even cover daycare costs, if that's the case. So
that's another big thing is daycares.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
So we couldn't even do it. So I have a friend who's a lawyer, and we were living in Philly at the time. And I went and sat down in his office, and he said, "Why would you go to school for paralegal?" He said, "All my paralegals, they came in as like legal secretaries, and they worked their way up to paralegal, and none of them went to college." And I said, "You think I'm just wasted $50,000 for nothing?" And she never one day in her life worked as a paralegal.
Wow.
She's good at looking stuff up on a computer when I can't find something. I'll give her that. But it wasn't worth 50. It wasn't worth 50 grand.
Yeah.
I think these the taxpayers should not be paying for the student loans, but the endowments, they should be figuring out how many student loans Harvard has and use that endowment money to pay those loans off. And because it really does hurt the country, because people, if they have that loan, it's going to be $1,000, $1,100 a month.
Yeah.
Back in the 50s or 60s, right? You could raise a family working a 9 to 5 at the hardware store with the white picket fence and the car and the black and white TV. What happened?
Things got too expensive
on one salary.
On one salary, yeah.
Yeah, but now even debt. I mean, right now, it's the highest credit card debt America's ever been. It's over $1 trillion.
Yeah,
you have to work 2-3 times jobs.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, the credit cards is a whole other area. I wish we could do something on the state level about credit cards, but that's another scam.
Yeah, it is.
The 25% interest, on that's ridiculous. Somebody should tackle. I hope Trump tackles that.
So you mentioned, number one, you mentioned woodworking, right? Coming out the woodwork, and I'm sorry, I think we need to push back into trade schools, right? There was a big push when I was a child, coming out of high school. No, you need to go to college. You need to go to college. We need to start pushing trade schools again, so maybe we can bring the price of some trades down and keep that knowledge rolling.
Well, you're definitely going to need it.
100%. You always need that.
Think about it. I went to LaSalle College High School. It's a prep school. It was a very prestigious school on the East Coast. I mean, one of the top 5 in the high schools in the country, and I actually got a full academic scholarship there. Not bragging, right? I used to be smart, a little bit, and then
small kind.
It's kind of left my brain as I got older, But yeah, so I didn't go to college. 99.9% of people that graduated from there, went to college, and I didn't. I got it in trades, and I've run into people that went to college, went to Stanford, went to wherever, a great college. I could have got it in any college I wanted to, and I see them and I make a lot more money than they do.
Yeah,
and they're in a ton of debt.
That's it.
So, but you need to get a job now. Right now, AI is expanding so much. You need to get an AI-proof job because AI is going to take over with a lot of different jobs.
It is.
There's always going to need a carpenter, at least for now, a plumber, an electrician, and unions make good money. We're self-sustaining. We pay in our own pension, pay in our own annuity, pay in our own health care from the developers that pay our rate. So, I mean, but then you have people like Norcross. He just that's what he just rose the minimum wage to $17 an hour.
Which helps no one because the people that are earning more than that aren't getting any kind of raise
Now, if I
because
had a
of that.
private business, I would say,
asking for it.
Yeah. Not only that, it's like get your hands out of my business here. This is none of your business what I pay employees.
Well, Perry's got his hands in everybody's business.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the AI is. I was a programmer for 13 years I was a COBOL programmer, and that's what I do all day. It was just code all day, and the language was called COBOL. And just for fun, I brought up ChatGPT and I said, write me a COBOL program that'll read 10,000 records and sort it, alphabetically or largest number. Sort of.
It would have took you 3 weeks, huh, Jack?
It just
3 seconds.
I thought, oh my God,
yeah,
I was shocked. It just did it now.
Well, we're getting close to coming up to the hour, so let's roll on to our next segment here, segment 3.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with Alexandra Levine Live on the America's Pulse Network. You are all in with Alexandra Levine. We are still waiting for someone from the White House to come out and tell us what transpired between President Trump and Vladimir Putin on that call today. We are here live at the White House. We're waiting for White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to come out and tell us about the updates of today, the call between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, what transpired in that call.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Generation fighters to take the stand from shore to shore. We reclaim the land, grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore, we make our stand.
we're dead. We're dead.
Yeah, you're right. We definitely need businesses in New Jersey. I mean, that's what they should have incentives like Delaware did. I mean, remember we talked about it as well,
did, yeah.
You know, they had all the large corporations, the banks, the pharmaceuticals, like Chemours, DuPont, were down there. A lot of them are leaving now, and they're moving. I mean, New Jersey's our next governor. Should hopefully Republican. Will be a Republican.
Yeah, will be a Republican.
You guys as assembly. We can, lure businesses here by giving them tax incentives, tax cuts for so many years.
It would have to be laws too, corporate laws as well.
Yeah,
like business laws.
Yeah, but they can pick up the slack. I mean, it's just like Atlantic City. I don't even know how it works now. It's probably still somewhat the same. But Atlantic City, the casinos paid a lot of taxes. So you live in Atlantic City, your taxes were really actually low. The casinos took care of a lot of that stuff. Just like if you have if they would have put Amazon, in New Jersey somewhere, like one of the biggest Amazon plants. I mean, they eat up a lot of the.
Such a horrible place to work for, though.
Well, I don't know. I don't plan on working for them. I'm just saying we'll probably lower our taxes. But bringing businesses in will lower our taxes. It will increase revenue in the state of New Jersey. And that's what we need.
Well, I mean, when you hear a month ago when Trump announced, $500 billion going for AI, made that big announcement.
NVIDIA.
Yeah. Well, where do they go? They went to Texas. Why would they ever come to New Jersey?
Well, not the way it's set up right now.
Exactly. It's just never going to happen. So the other thing that's occurring, because of the taxes are so high, and there is a millionaire's tax that's very high as well, our wealthiest people in the state are leaving.
Yep. When they get taxed to leave, we have an exit tax
as well. Yeah.
And when they leave, they many times bring their businesses with them. Why stay? Wealth is mobile. Wealth can move anywhere.
Yeah, and I know personally too. The guy, he's worth a lot of money, billionaire. He's a developer, and he likes building waterfront properties. And he, the Norcrosses, which everyone knows in New Jersey, the most powerful family in the state of New Jersey, most likely. They pretty much own Camden City. That's what they pay. Most of their money gets generated from. This guy, they pretty much strong-armed him out of $47 million. They made him go make deals with them for the property, and this guy, he doesn't really mess around. And they made him for $47 million. Took him to court, lost, and then Norcross got indicted, and that was part of the indictment. And then, of course, they beat that too. But they're not looking to build up New Jersey at all. This guy wanted to build up the waterfront. I mean, he wanted to create jobs. I mean, he builds, high rises. I mean, they would have created plenty of jobs for people to work there. And they've been trying to build up Camden waterfront, which could be beautiful.
For decades.
Yeah, for 50 years at least that I know of. And it could be beautiful.
They'll never do it. They'll just generate, it'll attract money. But what really gets done, they build another building for Rutgers, maybe, another dormitory or something. I don't know.
I mean, New Jersey has a potential, it's just not being tapped. I mean, it really isn't. That's why we need the right leadership in here. Other than people just
wanting to line their own pockets, right? That's what it comes down to, man. A lot of these people in charge, especially here, I mean, they just want to line their pockets.
Yeah. I'm curious, what's Lou Greenwald's network?
Oof.
Yeah, we're gonna check in that next show.
Yeah.
But I did challenge Lou last time. I'm gonna do it again. So I would love to have you on my show. And I would just ask normal questions. I promise you that. I'll just ask the questions. You answer them as you may. Of course, I'm going to lean one way and a little bit biased because I am Republican. But I want to hear what have you done for this for LD6 for the past 29 years? What you plan to do, what your plans are. I mean, I want to compare you to these guys. I know these guys. I don't know you. So I would like you to come on the show. See if you have the stones to do it, and we'll sit here. We'll talk like gentlemen. Not like the far left that just shuts everybody down, doesn't want to talk. I mean, if you really believe that you should be the next assemblyman again, come tell us why. And I will send you a copy of this. And like I said before, I will set it up on automatic email, and I will email it to you every day until November 4th, and until you respond. And hopefully you will come on and we can sit down and have a conversation. I've interviewed plenty of people. Mostly on the Republican side. I'd like to get a Democrat in here, get a different perspective, and I'll just ask normal questions. and let's see if he can give some normal answers. Because from what I'm reading now, that bill you signed for the kindergarten, that doesn't seem normal to me. I would like you to come. That might be my number one question for you. So maybe be prepared for that one when you come in. I'll give you that one for free. So be prepared for that one if you come in. But I will email you every single day, auto email. I know how to set it up. Just boom, just keep hitting it over and over again. And I'll talk about it on the show until you come on, because I know these guys. I know what their plans are. They don't have to do this. They're not juggernauts. They're regular guys just like me. You know, I was carpenter, construction manager. I decided to run for Congress because I saw things going south, and I didn't like the future for my children. Just same here, future is children, grandchildren, future to the state in this country. So these are people that are putting everything on the line that don't have to do this, but feel that they're compelled to do it out of a sense of duty. Because as Edmund Burke said, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. So that's what these guys are doing. I want you to come in here and tell me, and of course all of our listeners out there, why you should stay in assembly for going on 32
29.
years. So what is that? Every 2 years assembly. So it's gonna be 31. So I'm just going to put that out there.
So let me give you an idea how long Lou Greenwald has been in. He's the longest serving legislator in Trenton. He started in 1996. And for the local Philly people, when I say 1996 is when he started, you probably want to know who was the Eagles quarterback in 1996. And that happened to be Rodney Peete, who was replaced by Bobby Hoyne. And then Bobby Hoyne was replaced by Doug Peterson. And then Doug Peterson was replaced by Donovan McNabb. So he was well before the Donovan McNabb era. So
I was a sophomore.
Yeah.
No, I was a freshman. I'm sorry.
On the Phillies, the starting pitcher, Kurt Schilling. Jim Eisenreich was on the outfield. Rico Brogna. Remember these? Do you know any of these names?
Rico, well, those the first two I do. But
Mickey Morandini, second base.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Benito Santiago. I guess he was catcher. Kevin Stocker. Mark Whitman.
It was the year they went to the World Series, was it? I believe. So somewhere around 96. Lost to the Blue Jays.
Let's see. The Academy Award that year was Braveheart, 1995.
Great movie.
Really was a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And we're screaming it now. Freedom!
The other big movies out: Independence Day, Twister, which was a good movie too. That was Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton.
Oh, he's dead now, Bill Paxton. Man, he's been around for a while.
Mission Impossible. It was the first film of the long-running franchise with Tom Cruise. That was the first one. The Rock, Hunchback of Notre Dame, 101 Dalmatians.
Wow.
The Nutty Professor. One of the great movies, Jerry Maguire. Really good movie. Who was president in 1996? The president of the United States was Bill Clinton.
He did not inhale.
He did not inhale. And he did not know Monica at that point.
Yeah, and
he did not have any sexual relations with that woman.
Just a cigar did.
That's right, the cigar did. It depends on the definition of the word is. That's what he is. What does it is mean? He was in his first term, and he was reelected later that year, defeating Bob Dole. So, I mean, this is ancient history.
I was 10.
Yeah.
I was 10 years old when this guy got elected for the first time.
Yeah, so this was, I think he's had his chance.
Yeah.
I mean.
And failed, clearly. I mean.
I guess we'll reserve some of the really bad stuff for the next podcast, but there's some, he's ended up on the wrong side. He's partnered up with Garden State Equality. I don't know if you're familiar with those folks, but Garden State Equality, basically, they want your sons and daughters to be homosexual, and those that don't, Garden State Equality wants them to be transgender. And
wait, so this is a group that
this is an activist group that Lou Greenwald did projects with. So he would do, and they would also have influence on some of these bills. So it's no surprise that he would sign a bill to start gender ideology in kindergarten if he's palling around with Garden State Equality.
Well, let's just take a step back. Their main goal is to...
Well, their main goal, if you look on their website, is to, take care of AIDS, that sort of stuff, the rights for transgender, it's all that sort of thing. But they were one of the main contributors to the New Jersey Student Learning Standards, and they were the ones behind all this gender ideology because that is what they're pushing. I might have simplified it a little bit, but they're pushing the gay rights and the transgender rights. That's what they're all about. And of course, it's going to be about their legal rights and also their medical rights and all that kind of stuff, right? But when it comes to kids, they're all in on the curriculum. So,
well, Lou,
this is a group. If we could ever write the law, this is a group that should never come near a curriculum.
No,
never come near a child.
It's Garden State Equality. Just stay away from them. I should bring in the New Jersey Student Learning curriculum came out in 2 phases. The first phase in the curriculum is really the one they wanted.
Yeah, it was a little too...
Right. I'll bring in some of the details because that's the one they wanted. They didn't want... we may think what they have now is bad.
Oh, yeah, no.
But it was much worse.
I'm sure you've seen amaze.org.
Amaze, right. That's part of it. Porn is fun. That's that video. So this is not good stuff for kids. This is all bad, and it's all part of the grooming effort. And it's just how, again, this is emanating out of the Democratic Party.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because all of these things, that's the sad part about Trenton these days, that the Republicans are outnumbered. So any garbage bill that comes down the pipe from the Democrats, there are just not enough Republicans to overturn it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's been, for 29 years.
And that's why we need more people to stand up and run and get involved.
Yeah, it's about time. This has all got to change here.
Yeah, even fill your committee seats. It's not. It doesn't take a lot. Just getting involved with the community, with the committee. I mean, we have, I believe, 21 districts in West Effort, and there are 6 committee people. There's 2 in every district, and there are only 6 people on committee in all 21 districts. So we fill the committee seats. I mean, you get to vote on the county chair. I mean, you find out what's going on. Help out with certain community things, and that's just a start to. If you want to go further in the politics, but everybody, like you said, especially on that X space we were on, yeah. Everyone get out there and just try to step up, run for something. Don't just vote. Make sure you vote, of course. But if you're really into it, you really want to see change. Sometimes you have to
be the leader that you want to see.
About to go to you for that.
Got you, baby. I got you. I knew it was coming. It fell right into place.
But again, Lou, I mean, I don't know what this Garden State Freedom thing is, but
Garden State Equality.
Equality, yeah, the Garden State Equality. But I've been hanging out with them for too long, and I won't even ask the question. I'm wondering what your closet looks like, so you can come and dress in any apparel that you want for the interview. So. But again, I'm going to keep sending this to you. I even put a timestamp. I think it was, I'll go back and I'll timestamp. So you don't have to watch the whole show because you're not going to agree with it. But just the timestamp of when I'm calling you out to come on the show, because I would really like to talk to you. My listeners would love to hear from you. I would like to have an honest to God debate with somebody that doesn't make sense to me, that passes these policies that make no sense whatsoever. And maybe you can explain something. I mean, I don't know. You've been in the game for almost 30 years. Maybe there's something I don't know.
Lots of experience.
Yeah, lots of experience, and maybe you can teach me something. And maybe teach my listeners something. Or
this is his final year.
Well, that's what I'm going with.
This is his last year.
Hey, Lou, you better get your ass in here, buddy. They're coming for you. So
we are.
So, all right, guys. Well, listen, another good show. I mean, last show was great too, other than the technical difficulties. But we're just getting everything in order here. Our producer does wonderful stuff with all the backgrounds and the clips and you see all the graphics and putting all the stuff together. And his wife's ready to divorce him already. So is mine, by the way, especially when we start the poll that's coming up. We've been advertising that for a long time. But it's just been slow moving. We had different problems with one of our podcasters and some medical issues in the hospital. Myself too. I'm not back, and then I was hospitalized. Then I got epidurals. I had some kind of infection, and they're trying to take us out. That's what it is. It's the Democrats. You guys got to watch, man.
I don't know why all you young guys are falling apart here.
Yeah, I get it.
Because the food is poison, Jack. That's why. All right, you went half your life without poison food. You know, like what are we talking about?
I'm the one that should be breaking down, not you guys.
Well, at least I recovered quickly.
Yeah. All right.
So, but for that, let's go into our fourth segment, which is a quick one. We're going to give away the Patriot of the Week Award and the
America's
Loser
Pulse
of the Week
Network.
Award.
The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Generation fighters take the stand. From shore to shore we reclaim the land. Grit and glory in every strand. In Jersey Shore we make our stand.
All right, now here we go, guys. We're going to give out the Jersey Shore Patriot Award, and then we are going to give out the Loser of the Week Award. Now, I wanted to give this award, the Patriot Award, to somebody that you would never expect a couple weeks ago, and I didn't get a chance to do it. And it really should go to Kid Rock, but the reason why is Kid Rock set up this a dinner with Bill Maher and Donald Trump, and actually I believe Dana White was there at the same time too. And I'm only giving it to Bill Maher. Bill is a staunch Trump hater. Against his policies, I don't agree with anything Bill Maher says, other than the fact that he thinks that his party went way too far left. They went too crazy, and he chastised them for that. But the reason I'm giving the Patriot Award is because he actually went and he sat down with Trump, and then he really had the guts to come out on his show afterwards and talk about the meeting to his far left audience and say, you know what? Trump is a human being. He said he's not a monster. He was funny. He invited me in. We had great conversations. And he said, it's not like I'm coming back and I'm a Republican and I agree with his policies. He still doesn't agree with his policies. He said, but he's not the guy that people paint him out to be. And then but so he actually did that. He made that step. So he calls out his own party, which I mostly 99.9% don't agree with. He'll call them out and say, you're going way too far left. Our own party's going crazy. Let's give back to the Democrats of old, which I used to be a Democrat, but Democrats of old were, left into the middle. I'm right into the middle. So there's always that middle ground where you can have some bipartisanship, but we don't really have that anymore. But that's why I'll give it to you, Bill Maher. Even though, you're a Trump hater, never really liked you that much, didn't like your show. But, you seem like you're at least making an attempt to bring back some type of common sense between the parties. So I will give you the Patriot of the Week Award. So on to the Loser of the Week Award. Loser of the Week Award. that's got to go to Maine Governor Janet Mills.
Oh, yeah.
Because careful what you wish for. You said, I'll see you in court. Trump said, sure, that'll be an easy one. And he said, and it will be. It will be. It's federal law. And he's going to pull funding from your state. I mean, they were getting like $284 million, or was it something like that, $1 million a year in federal funding.
Yeah.
And now they're even looking to pull the federal funding they already received, but they have left because they won't abide by his executive order. So, FAFO. So you're the loser of the week, and you will be the loser when you lose this court case. Then you'll be the double loser, or the double L loser of the week. Goalpost right there when Trump kicks it right through. So that's 3 points for another win. Just had a 9-0 win Supreme Court as well over judge shopping and all that stuff. I mean, he keeps producing the wins. The only thing I did say, obviously I never agree with Trump with everything, but mostly policies, but one thing I would have gave the media, they wanted the guy from Venezuela, they wanted to bring him back so bad. And the thing is, he could have just said, just don't give the media anything to talk about, because even Steve Miller said, he said, if we brought him back, he'd come in one day in court and he would get deported back to El Salvador.
Yeah.
So if I was Trump, I would have just took away their narrative, because then they were like, oh, damn it, what are we going to talk about now? I would have said, sure, yeah, we'll fly him back. We fly in, goes from the judge, deport it, and he gets back on the plane. Yeah, I mean, what's the money compared to what Biden spent on illegals? I mean, who cares? A flight here, flight back, just to shut them up, and then they wouldn't have anything to talk about. That's what I would do. I would have really screwed with him, because he'd like trolling the press. I think that would have been a good way to troll him, because they would have like, now
what are we talking about now?
Chaos. Let's go back to burning Teslas.
That's it. Yeah, that's on pause for a while.
Until we find something else that we can complain about and make up. So, so before we go, I just wanted to talk about good friend Seth. They said he's been in the hospital. There is a GoFundMe for him on Facebook. His hospital bills are building up, and he's an Army veteran as well, and he hasn't been in work in a while. So I'm not even sure if his insurance expired at this point, but he has been in and out of the hospital. So if you can go on that GoFundMe and help Seth out. His name's Jonah Eisenberg, goes by Seth. But if you can help him out. And then also we have Alexandra Levine Live. She's on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. She's our own Peter Ducey down there with the White House press correspondent passes. So that's what we call our own Peter Ducey. And again, you can always check out this podcast on Monday nights at 8 p.m., Friday nights at 8 p.m. And when we get into the pulse in May, that'll be Wednesdays if I'm still alive, my wife doesn't kill me from being out of the house for so long. And also Cruise 92.1 WVLT. Pete and I host that show. That's a Jersey Shore radio show, and that's from 5 to 6 p.m. You can find it if you just go on Facebook, you can just look up Cruising 92.1 WVLT, and you can watch it live on their Facebook. We post it afterwards and share it. Or you can just, if you're outside of the area, because it's out of Vineland, get half in New Jersey and into Philadelphia. But once you get up north or any further than that, in another state, you won't be here. But you can always go on Google and just look it up, and then you'll be able to live stream it. So that's what we have. And then you guys, let's talk about where people can find you. Talk about your website, how far we are, with the website.
Jack has been doing great things with the website over there at votejackandpete.com.
That's right.
Votejackandpete.com. We're still working on getting the donate button up and running. But, Jack, he's a master in the game putting that thing together, man. So it's very beautiful.
Yeah. We're getting, but it's hours away. Maybe by the end of the day tomorrow.
Oh, there we go. So... And then you can find me on Pete Sykes on Facebook and the real Pete Sykes over on X.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, and listen, once they get that donut button going, this guy Lou Greenwald's been in the game for a long time. He raises like $500,000-600,000 every time for assembly, which is astronomical. Yeah. For assembly to raise that much money. So
there you go.
Oh, there you go. There's the website right there. All right.
That's a
sweet.
beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, look how nice that is.
Yeah. That's awesome. The website before that, I don't know. I kind of liked it too.
Oh, look at that handsome guy right there.
You know, I was going to say behind you with the seal. It looks like you got a little cowlick sticking up, but it's actually a picture behind you.
I'll do a little editing there.
Heather told me not to tell you that because then I was going to be looking at it. So
and there are the towns.
Yeah.
All the towns that we're going to represent.
So
send us the trend. That's it.
That's the end game.
Then there's our positions, and there's the whole thing on Doge. Across these are all menu items. And we can talk about Doge maybe on the next show.
That's it.
Yeah,
because there's stuff to do there.
Indeed, Doge. When we just went to see Spadia the other last Saturday, he brought up the ND Doge and all that again.
So maybe this can be one of our in between segments. You know, this little
okay.
It's
not bad.
Into a Jack and Pete segment.
Get some good audio behind it. You know, good nice little song.
Yeah,
you know, as it's playing. So I like it.
I had to rent a helicopter to get that.
Yeah,
but we got it. Good job.
That's it.
So that's why it's important when the donation button goes up, hit that donation. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $5, whatever you can afford. You know, if you want real change in New Jersey, these guys are it. Yeah. And so is Constance in LD5, and I always forget her name. Nilsa. And the other candidates.
Constance Lee.
Constance Lee, yes. Great woman. She's awesome. I love having a conversation with her. She's great.
Yeah.
And before we say goodbye, I guess I will see you guys on Sunday morning. We're going to give out meals to the seniors.
Yes, we are.
You have Steve DiOrio. He's also he was on the show a few weeks back. He's on 92.1 as well. Steve is involved in a lot of charity work, and I've been doing it with him for this might be the 8th year. I've done it before.
Do you do it Thanksgiving and all the holidays, or just Easter?
Yeah, well, it's Christmas too.
Christmas too.
Yeah, and the first time we did it, well, I was doing it even before I had kids, but when my kids got a little bit older. They come down to see their toys and they want to open them right away. And I said, listen, we got to go out. We got to give them.
So where is Sunday? What's the, where is it?
Sunday, it's in, it's near Collins.
Nights, right? Or at nights?
At nights, at nights.
But I mean, what's the facility? Is it a church or?
No, I believe it's like a VFW. And then you go down in the basement and they have the whole kitchen there, and then they'll have the boxes and they'll give you the list and the numbers and where to go. And we hand them out. And the best thing about it is, like I said, my kids, the first time, they were like, no. And then we went, it didn't take that long. By the time we got the food.
So do you go out to the homes and deliver them? Or
yeah, they usually give you like either an apartment complex, like maybe like a 55 or whatever it is. So basically that's usually what it is. So you go and you have all the room numbers. And what I do is I always go to like maintenance and look for a cart. So you can just put them there and just roll down. But the first time my kids did it, the very first one that opened the door was this older lady, and she started crying immediately. And they didn't understand it. They said, "Why is she crying?" I said, "Because she's so happy that you guys are here on Christmas Day, giving her a meal." And then after that, every single year, the first thing they do, they come down, they look at their toys, and see what they got, and they say, "Okay, let's go get ready to give the meals out." And they're excited to do it, and then come home, and it takes me forever to put their new toys together that they play with for about
5 minutes.
Yeah, and then it's.
You had mentioned it on Christmas. We had just missed it because I think you told me about it like right on or after Christmas. But my girls they're excited. They want to get out there and do it too. So we were already planning on this before anything else. So yeah, it's all about giving back.
Well, next time I'll bring my grandkids.
See, there you go. There you go. Start it early. Let's make new traditions and help groom our children the way they should be groomed in American values.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, in the next episode, I'll have an update on that horrible story I told in the beginning, that breaking news. And there's about Pennies in Action, Cancer Research Treatment Center. I told you guys a story about my sister. I'll tell it again next week. And something great happened so far. And I just want to talk about it. Steve DiOrio is involved as well. He received another award for his participation in setup. And I'm in touch with them. I want to run something for them because they're basically everything's from donations. Insurance doesn't pay for it yet. It's a new immunotherapy where they can, before metastatic, stage 4 breast cancer was incurable. They're actually curing people with it now. With this new research, it's amazing. So we'll get into that next week. But for that matter, happy Easter. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. God bless. And God bless the United States of America.
Happy Easter, everybody.
And LD6.
LD6.
The great state of New Jersey.
And Lou, Oliver's still out there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, bye.
Never gonna lag. Stone cold hearts in the land of the free. Galvanized truth, just you and me. Freedom ain't cheap, gotta hold tight. In Jersey, sure we'll win this fight. No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets, our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time. Jersey show, we got the fight. Stand together through the night. America first, raising the flag. We ain't never gonna lag. No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets, our spirits reside. Unity strong, we walk this line. One big voice, it's our time. Generation fighters take the stand. From shore to shore, we reclaim the land.